In this video I'd like to show you how to service the low-level wall-mounted Abacus WC frame. Now this is it, and it gives you the option of using the front flush plate or putting it in the top simply by turning that around, but this is kind of cheating. This is a display model, so I'm going to go and do it on the real thing. So whether this flush plate is on the front or on the top, the same applies. You just lift it on the springs and take it off. Now if you've got any kind of difficulty here, it's a good idea just to get your phone out and photograph each point that you do, so you can make sure that it goes back the right way, because you'll find things like these little springs at the bottom, you might forget which way around they go. These little levers locate in those two arms at the back. Turn the water off, and then we're going to undo the fill valve just by releasing the little clip at the back where it slides into the slot, and then we'll undo the connection there, and then you can take out the whole fill valve. And this is the new valve because they're always changing the water regulations, and they've decided in their wisdom that they need to have a different air gap to stop cross-contamination. It's mainly because people insist upon chucking those little lube blocks into their cisterns, and then that water has been back siphoning and people have seen it appear in their tap water. But that can only happen when you've got really low pressure under exceptional circumstances. But anyway, they've changed the design of the valve. So although these arms will pivot forward, I'm just going to slide it out. Just remember how you took it apart so you can put it back together. We can just have a little feel in the bottom there and check that that's clean. This flush valve seals down on the bottom on this ring is actually clean. Get a build up of scale and debris on them, and that once they've been cleaned off, again maybe just a little silicone lubricant. Generally if there is a problem, it's going to be with this little piece of rubber here. Maybe it's just become distorted or corroded for some reason. Maybe somebody's used harsh chemicals. So what you can do is just take that off and then replace this piece of rubber here. That is a replaceable part, doesn't cost very much at all. But what you can sometimes do is just simply turn it over, because if they get buckled, then just turning it over can sometimes solve the problem. Put the washer on, take the other ring, same game, snaps back on there, and that's it, that's done. And we take this is on a bayonet fitting, and we can adjust that's up and down, so that will give you a new lease of life. So if you need to adjust the amount of water that's going in there, you can do it just by sliding this up and down. So if you wanted to change it, the information's there. So what you can do is just take the hose, turn the tap on again, and just give it all a bit of a wash out there. And if there is any debris, you'll see it come out into the pan. So generally not a lot. Generally, as I say, lime scale is your biggest enemy in any plumbing. So now let's see if I can get this back in. Just sit it down in the hole, and then once it's in the hole, slide that up, slide it into place. Now the fill valve. So if you do get a problem, it's normally because it's been blocked up, that there's debris in there, either from scale build up, but also what I've found is people just don't flush the system through. They connect these things up, and then there's debris. You might get a bit of solder going through there, and suddenly it blocks the valve up. You can also get it when the water company's been working down the road, they've got a burst main or something like that. They turn the water back on and the loo fills back up because you flushed it when the water's off. It's the first thing to take the water back, and again you can get debris coming. I've had that many times in the past. So long as you look at that, and as I say, if there is a major problem with it, just get a replacement part, because many years ago I found that the best thing to do with these things, they're not expensive. The O-ring is doing the sealing, it's not this nut. Don't get a wrench and start tightening that up. It slides down, you hear it click, hose is in place, turn the water back on and let it finish filling. Those two there have to lift these two arms up separately. Okay, so if we don't get those in, they should just fall into place, but sometimes they don't, right? So they're in that place, and then we can lift that up, snap that into place. Now, for the next bit, we put that in place, put our rods back in, lock it in position. That one goes up, so the other one's going to go down. Rod in place. These are supposed to be cut so that they're the right length. If somebody says they've had a problem with it not operating smoothly, it's generally because that rod is too long. And turn around and click, and then once it's clicked, you can see that it's very responsive indeed. And as I say, sometimes I've found that people haven't broken that section off when they've installed the system. The rod's too long and it's fouling on the back, and they're not getting a smooth operation. When these things are fitted properly and they're working, they should be absolutely sweet. Very nice indeed. There you are, you heard that click. So last thing that goes on, the flush panel. So we put that on, you can see that we're pushing up on those two. Locate it on the bottom, push it up into place, and on it goes. So that's it. That was what, a 10-minute job, no tools required. So once you can do that, you can save yourself a whole load of trouble. Now, I would just say at this point, I have had countless emails over the years from people saying, I've had a plumber around, he wants to hack my tiles off to access the system, and they don't realise how easy it is to service these systems just by removing that cover plate and getting to the inside. So once you know that, it's worth its weight in gold.